because I do get buzzed easily. So we go out for drinks and dinner. I only need one.
Hey, quick question. I was listening to one of the previous podcasts just as prep work. Should I have a general idea of the answer to what have you been doing this week?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. Will do. All right.
So I'm actually, while you're doing that, I'm going to grab some water real quick so that way I'm not dehydrated.
Yep. I am tweeting out. Heather, if you can keep an eye on the chat room.
Yep. I'm going to tell him to.
I've lost
Also
my
didn't
mouse.
hear
Where
us?
the hell did my mouse go? There it goes.
Where's the where we're doing things this week part? I think it got lost.
Apples
McCullough will
isn't
go
gonna see.
around the room and ask
Oh, there it is.
everyone how. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. No.
I
content
figure
creation.
since I have the least involvement with BlizzCon, with the ACAMs and such, that I will be, leading this monkey show and letting you guys get, run away with it when I ask questions.
Yep. All right. Got that going. Okay. Dropping this in various chat rooms. Where did the tadpole go? There it is. Where is Scott's promo hype? There we go. All right.
Get my stuff over this way.
All right. Let us know, chat room, when you can see and hear us.
There we go.
Oh, they can see and hear us. Mr. Apple is teasing me about being a type pilot because I had one verbal snafu.
It'll haunt you for the rest of your life.
I
don't
am
you know?
aware. I am aware.
It's called
I have to
politics,
expect them to
you
put
know.
on the Geeks Get Healthy page some good TIE fighter exercise routines at this point.
How to get in and out of your TIE pilot, TIE fighter without injuring your knee.
It was an X-Wing and it was hiking.
You want to be a TIE fighter? Lots of crunches. Lots and lots of crunches, ladies and
They're
gentlemen.
also called coffin jockeys for a reason. Anyway,
Yeah, exactly. Those and Death Knights. Oh, all right.
Oh, a bunch of nerds.
Hey,
all right.
I'm
We're
getting
ready?
I'm getting a 404 on the podcast live feed. FYI.
One sec. Well,
Hang on. What did I do?
no one knows that, Cam. No one knows.
AIE-Guild podcast-live-feed, page not found.
Podcast dash live dash stream.
Okay, well, those are the links you're putting out. You're putting in the Discord. So
Did I put the wrong ones in there?
very possibly.
I did. Dang it. All right, hang on. Let me go edit those. Dang it. Live
Cameron J.
stream.
Offs.
And
Hey.
our chat and the chat room is the general in AIE podcast
Yep.
Discord, right?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Yep.
Just wanted to know who I should be ignoring.
All right. General. Let me
that's
go
me.
back and unfoobar this. All right. Edit. Not really.
No.
Okay,
You're live.
that
We're not
one.
recording.
I just realized I shouldn't have worn the shirt with a giant lights patch on the middle. Going like, oh,
Yeah, you're fine. It'll just reflect up. You're in autumn anyway, you know.
I look gorgeous in rust colors.
All right, there we go. And
Okay.
I will unfoobar this one.
Colin and I matching shirts today.
Yep. I work out for Veterans Day.
All right, there we go. Right, we are good. I unfoobared that. Let me double check. Did I tweet out the right one? Yes, I tweeted out the right one. Okay.
Hey, Apple, I
good.
don't know if you can tell behind me, but I do have the schematics for a X-Wing. Anyway.
It's all good. It's all
It's
good. All right.
good. It's all
Who's
good.
leading
All
the
right.
monkey show? You are?
Me.
All right.
Me. All right.
Monkey show. Gotta love it.
Yep.
Yep.
Unfortunately, guys, you guys are my monkeys, and tonight this is my circus.
Exactly.
All right. Going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on this episode of the AIE Podcast.
Raid the bank. Is that legal?
Maybe. Play ESO in Plus mode for free.
Is that
Mega.
legal?
It is to a certain date, yes.
Depends on
Mega,
the state.
not MAGA, is eminent.
And Lord of the Rings Online is now legendary.
And we have Link Theris and Cardinal here to talk to us about BlizzCon.
Woohoo! All that and more coming up now.
Give me just a second because I realize I forgot to set the freaking audio track. Hang on.
You interrupted my chair dancing.
I know. I'm sorry.
Can't hear it.
Yeah, I know. Give me a second. I had a 50-50 shot and I screwed it up. Here we go.
Threw away your shot.
Anticipatory. Here it is.
Bringing you the latest news from the AIE gaming community from planet Earth and beyond. This is the AIE Podcast.
Welcome to episode 309 of the podcast celebrating you, the AIE Podcast gaming community. The die has been podcast. I am Akala. Downstairs and to my left is Tetsemi.
I have no spreadsheets this week.
Ooh, I need to start Christmas spreadsheets. Would you mind starting that for me? And how do you have beer and I don't? Anyways, and to my right is Mewcow.
Greetings, guildies.
This week we have Lengtheris and Cardinal. Yeah, we asked Lengtheris back again, guys. Buckle in. It's going to be a long show. Here to talk about BlizzCon. Welcome, guys.
Sucker.
Good evening, everyone.
The next to last show of the year might just be the last show of the year because we all know Link is going to go that long. Anyways.
Hey, you know what? What I make up in Link nowadays, I make it up in like volume. Lots and lots.
This
There
is
you go.
true. This is true.
I met
All
Lance
right,
for the first time on Saturday, and boy, can that man talk.
we're aware. We are aware. He was our house guest for a weekend once, and yeah.
Did you get a word in edgewise the entire weekend?
No, which is really amazing because I can talk.
It's good. It's a good thing he's interesting and funny, isn't it?
It is, and he's delightful, and Owl and the Pussycat. Anyways. Okay, so before we go back to ribbing Lank, and then going over ribbing Lank and talking about BlizzCon, let's go talk about what we've been up to in and out of game. We're going to go alphabetical. So that is going to be Cardinal. What have you been doing in and out of game?
Alphabetical. Who saw that coming? So obviously I went to BlizzCon and that was absolutely amazing. I cannot overstate how much fun I had, and obviously we'll get into that a little later. But besides that, literally the day I got back from BlizzCon, and I got in at 4:30 in the morning. So that night, found out that my raid had cleared all of heroic Uldir, all the way up to Gahoon. So we have an entire night just to beat our heads against the monster that is heroic Gahoon.
Yep.
And we got him.
Nice.
So we are the third group in AIE to get ahead of the curve. So that was a big moment for all of us, a big sort of weight off of us going into the holidays, so we can kind of cruise on that. And of course, the new raid's coming out in January, and we obviously have a chance to enjoy 8.1. I'm sure we'll get into that as well. So yeah, that was a big deal, a lot of fun. The other thing on gaming side is that, of course, at it was before BlizzCon, I guess, they announced that Destiny 2 is now free for everybody who has a Battle.net account. So my son, who was incredibly jealous of me going to BlizzCon without him, even though his name was originally on the ticket. More on that later. He says, hey, let's play Destiny 2. And it's been a blast. I've been really enjoying it with him and his friends. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Awesome. All right, alphabetically, Link, you were next. You're not a game, buddy. What you been doing?
Wow, what kind of universe that I live in when I'm up next? So, recuperating from BlizzCon, because we realized that once you get older,
sucks.
See, I'm not saying that I'm no spring chicken, but it's it takes a little longer to get kind of back in the spirit of things.
It does.
Because man, that was a lot. We always wear comfortable shoes. So
I don't own comfortable shoes.
Oh, why?
I just don't.
See, this is where I give this stink eye to Tats and go, Tats, really? Christmas.
Wait, you're asking me? No.
Yeah. You got the wrong idea of this household, dude.
I know. So what I've been doing, I've been playing, getting back into swing of things in Eve, and I no sooner did I got back from BlizzCon, and I got a ping on Discord, and it's like, hey, Hoots, Alliance leadership needs you, and I'm like, oh my god, what do I do now? What do I do now? So it wasn't anything major, but we were out. we engage in what's called space capitalism, where it's we get all the alliance, actually our corporation together to kind of just do some PvE stuff. And I decided, hey, why not? I have this really new expensive ship. Why not try it for something mundane as shooting down like PvE bad guys? And man, that was funny. It was really, really funny, because it's like, as good as you think you might get in that game, you realize you have a humbling, terrible experience realizing I don't know didn't think a lot about this game sometimes.
There's a kill mail just around the corner with your name on it.
Oh, I will get to that later too. It's gonna be hilarious. So,
to who it may concern. Anyways,
besides that, it's just I picked up Octopath Traveler on my Switch, so I've been playing a little bit of that, all retro like Square Enix kind of stuff. Going, look, I'm 14 again. Ooh, it's fantastic. And the other thing too is I have a younger brother, and his son is now of age. He is now 11.
Mm-hmm.
And he is my brother has come to me and goes, hey, X, we'll call him X because that's what we call him. Says, he really wants to play video games with his uncle. And you help him out. And I'm like,
oh no.
Sure? Are you sure?
Are you sure?
They're asking for it.
Absolutely sure you want me to do that. So yeah, that's been fun as we've been. So we started easy. We started out with Mario Kart and ARMS on the Switch, and of course, now that he's gotten into that, we're playing online. I've asked my brother, so do you have anything with an 11 problem with any do you have a problem with an 11-year-old playing Diablo 3?
Right.
And I haven't heard yet. And he's like, Diablo what? And I'm like,
oh,
this is going to be fun.
That sounded a lot like no, I have no problem with it whatsoever.
I know, no response. It's obviously like, oh yeah, I have no problem. Go ahead and do it. And I'm like, okay. And the thing is that the kid, so he really likes scary movies. And he also just got a brand new Steam account. So I'm like, have you played this game called Left 4 Dead?
Oh no.
Oy vey.
And it's like, the first time he runs into is at the first Switch. Oh, retro gaming at its finest.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love that. As I'm listening over comes as he starts freaking out, going, what's that crying? Oh my god. Ah!
Oh god, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
a productive week.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mew, you're up next. What have you been doing in and out of game?
Well, so I did manage to, well, other than BlizzCon, of course, been recovering from BlizzCon. A bit of the fun sickness. My voice is still not quite where I would like it to be, but so there may be the occasional coughing. But beyond that, I did manage to sneak into the last of the Fallout 76 beta. So
nice.
Yeah, it's very promising. It's very much multiplayer Fallout 4. So
cool.
I so want to.
I hang out on the some of, what do you want to call them? Let's see. Lank would call them redacted. So there are some, not necessarily black hat, but some gray hat forums that deal with video games. And let's just say the talk on Fallout 76 has been really interesting about how bad Bethesda screwed up their network stack.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, this is a game that was not designed for multiple people.
Right.
Nope.
They don't. I mean, the ESO.
They just don't have the experience running that kind of game.
Right, yeah, it's
especially the Fallout universe with the Fallout engine on it, right?
Yeah, and ESO is run by basically a different company, even though it's the same company. Like there's a different group of people taking care of ESO. They know what they're doing. Fallout 76, like they do not. So there is a little bit of rubber banding, and there's definitely a lot of it's like, think of way back in the very beginning of World of Warcraft when you would hit somebody and it would take about a second for it to register that hit.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what they're dealing with. Like they're just now starting this whole journey. But when there's
I think the factor that I think is going to make or break Fallout 76 though is it a Fallout game? Does it feel like Fallout? And that's what I've been wondering about from everybody who's been a huge Fallout fan is, does this feel like the Fallout world?
Yeah,
because it was always a story universe, and now it's a multiplayer. So
they're doing it differently. They're doing it to where you no longer have an NPC in your face telling you the story. Now it's the part of the story that has always been in Fallout, where you're reading letters and listening to audio stuff. That it's just they focus harder on that. Like Fallout has always had that. They've always had the way to tell stories that way. They telling the story of the people that are gone, telling the story that the people you're just behind, you're just a little bit, haven't caught up to them yet. That's how they're doing it this time. So you do have robots, you do have super mutants and stuff like that. But for the most part, that's how they're telling the story, is through audio. It's through reading these interesting letters. So they're kind of like doubling down on that side of the storytelling. They're not doing the in-your-face talking to a person story.
So they're not doing the breadcrumbing kind of guy with a giant apostrophe over his head. Come talk to me.
Right.
Nope. It's very much the way they do quests is a lot like how we've done more recent Warcraft, where you walk into an area and suddenly a little thing pops up saying quest.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they do pretty much every quest now.
Interesting.
Okay.
And they also have the equivalent of world quests, where an event will pop up saying, hey, there's something going on here.
Kind of like Guild Wars 2?
Yeah, exactly. It's more Guild Wars 2-ish, where an event will pop up, everyone participates, you either succeed or fail in it, just like the Guild Wars 2 setup.
Cool.
Nice.
So, and
cool.
And all of this is without the PvP part, because I didn't get high enough level to where I had to worry about that. But from what I've seen from people that have done PvP, like, you don't have to participate. Like, you have to shoot back. If someone shoots you, if you just don't shoot back, no big deal. Like, they can sit there and wail on you, and it'll take forever. They do hardly any damage because you're not participating.
Gotcha.
So far, those people that are worried about not liking the PvP part, I don't think you have to participate. Like, and if somehow that person through perseverance just manages to finally kill you without you participating, they now become wanted. And the entire server, everyone active, now sees them on the map, sees that they have a bounty on their head. And
nice.
They cannot hide. They can't sneak. They can't do anything like that. Now everyone can hunt them down and kill them.
Cool.
Gotcha.
So
all I have to say, if you don't mind me jumping, is that PvP. I play Eve.
Yeah.
That's so quaint.
I know.
Yep, no, this is definitely not for Evers. There may be an aspect to it where there will be gangs of people running around trying to fight each other, but I don't think so far. I mean, everyone that I played with, they were too busy exploring the world. I mean, it was a Fallout world. It was definitely a lot more colorful than your typical Fallout worlds too. I don't know if it's just because it's so soon after the events.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Of course, we always see everything through the own eyes, but it sounds a lot like war mode in World of Warcraft these days.
Yeah.
What's that? No. I don't think I'm familiar with that mode.
Care Bear? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I am. I got a big old right there. Yeah, no right here. But
literally,
literally today. Yes.
No violence, me please. No violence.
But yeah. Other than that, back into WoW raiding. Trying to push that heroic envelope. And a bit of ESO. I did a bit of the stuff on Somerset. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very cool.
All right, Tet, you're up next.
Yep.
What have I been up to besides watching BlizzCon's panels forever? Mainly focusing on World of Warcraft. I finally got my Tet's been, done with the rep grind. Now he's like waiting for mission table things to come up to finish the 2 achievements that he needs to do for the mission table. So he's kind of in passive mode when raid's not on. Mm-hmm. But on my Alliance tune, because you got to see both sides of the story. I just finished all the reputations over there, so that character is now fully exalted with all the tunes. I did the Dark Iron Dwarf unlock, which was absolutely fun to go back and see some of that content. So I've got Black Iron. What did I do? Oh, I did the Paladin for the mount. And I'm probably also going to do a shaman because their totems look amazing. Mm-hmm. But on the Horde side now, I'm focused with all the announcements from 8.1, 8.15, 8.2, 8.25 coming out. Now I've got to quickly level my Blood Elf Rogue to 120, so she's ready. When the Heritage armor comes out, I can unlock that. And then I think that's it, because I've done all the allied races. I still need to level my Magar shaman to level for her Heritage armor, which looks awesome. But yeah, I've been having fun doing that, dabbled a little bit in Star Wars. And actually, with all the BlizzCon talk and everything, we'll get into it later, but it got me back into Diablo 3. So I am leveling a seasonal Diablo Necromancer, and I had not played one before. Oh my God, that class is amazing, because it's like, do you like explosions? Do you like skeletons? Do you like just lots of stuff? It's amazing to just wade in and just start. You just see this corpse explosion trail go through as all the mobs die, which leave new corpses, which then explode, which kill more mobs, which leave more corpses, and you wipe out an entire map. It's amazing.
Sweet.
So yeah, I'm having fun doing that. That's pretty much what I've been focused on. Is that what have you been up to, McCullough, besides ACAM?
Oh yes, I passed my ACAMs, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yay! ACAMS is Association of Anti-Money Laundering Specialists.
Certified anti-money laundering.
Anti-money laundering specialist. So that was my last few weeks studying for that thing, which was the worst test imaginable.
When I heard you talk about that, my first thought was, so you're going to learn how to launder money? Really?
Yeah, I can show you. Yes, I actually know how to launder money, and I also know the signs of laundering money. Hence, I'm good at my job.
Yeah. You got to know how to do it if you're going to prevent it.
Exactly.
Of course, here's where I go. Hey, can I hold your wallet?
Yeah.
Here, hold my beer. Anyway,
yeah. I don't have a beer. No one brought me one. Anyways.
I'll be right back.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So last show, I happened to mention that I had a bit of an implosion with my weekend group in D&D. And Monday, I'm sitting there and I'm talking to Mew's wife, Jen, and our good friend Amy. And I'm like, I'm thinking about putting a post out saying, hey, looking for group, experienced D&D player, find myself in one game right now, and I'd like to be in a little more. And I really hesitated to, because I've usually, when I do this post, I get a response of, oh yeah, I want to play. I'm looking for a game too. I want to play. I'm like, oh, well, no, I'm looking for a game. I don't want to hear, I want to play also. Yeah, I have a spot. Mm-hmm. So, and I almost didn't do it. And I'm like, okay, screw it. I'll put it out there. I hate doing it, but I'll put it out there. So a few minutes later, my friend Molly, who is a tadpooler, messages me, hey, remember that one shot I was doing this summer? Well, it's no longer a one shot. Do you want me to see if you can play? Like, sure. A few minutes later, I get a group message with her on the DM. Hey, Mike, this is my friend. She wants to play. Do you think we can let her? So I had a group within a few minutes.
Cool.
And they play on the weekends, Saturday or Sunday, from 1 to 5 our time. So in the middle of the day, where I was playing in the evening, but that's fine. I can make stuff work, and it doesn't go to the podcast. It backs up. There's an hour in between if we play on Sunday. But we weren't going to play last week because of BlizzCon. Like, all right, not a biggie. It's cool. I have time to work on my character. Sat on a Cleric of the Knowledge domain. He has some, and it's really cool because there's a lot of homebrew stuff, which I'm all into that. It has a steampunk influence. I'm like, wow, really? We're starting at the same level as the character that I just retired. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is interesting. Chose a custom race that he has, which are blessed, which is basically Asimir, but a little less, but more human. Like, cool. So here's a god I want. That's cool. Yeah, I like that. You do know though, also, if you want, we could probably make the god of time a knowledge-based god. I'm like, I also just gave up a time mage. Okay. Yeah, that's actually who I kind of want. Place. I'm sorry?
Pieces falling into place.
Yeah, like, that's kind of what I wanted. Okay, yes, that sounds lovely. Was going to make her a librarian. He's like, I have this hook for you. They got hired by a professor. She could be his assistant and a student. I'm like, and the time major that I just gave up was a college student. Okay, this is getting weird, but sure. And then Sunday after BlizzCon, one of the players pops up, "Hey, we're playing today, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, Michael said we're not because you have BlizzCon." And Michael pops in, "You know what? If everyone's available, we can play." I'm like, "Wait, you mean I have a game group that actually says we're playing in the last minute instead of we're not playing in the last minute?"
That's awesome.
I'm all for this. So we finish up my character. And then we start, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, just a heads up, we kind of have a Lovecraftian theme going on here." I'm like,
Perfect.
"You mean the D&D character that I just gave up that was originally a Cthulhian warlock?" Okay. So it was kind of like somebody took like all these things that I needed to deal with, and kind of smashed them together into one game. And here's like the really cool thing is we know when we're not playing the next 2 weeks, but we knew ahead of time. So I'm very excited about all this. So that is my D&D tangent. And hopefully tomorrow our Monday night game will get back up and going too.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Which is, actually it's almost all AIE people. There's Kenny's in it. Elkarth is in it. Our friend Vakela's in it. We have our DM is not a member of AIE, and for those who are new, when he would occasionally show up, Feelings is also in the raid or in the D&D group. So that's what I've been doing, rolling dice and finally not studying for a test. So let's quickly go over the news because I know we have a lot to talk about when it comes to BlizzCon.
All right.
AIE News.
Now with guests also doing stuff. Anyways.
All right. In streaming and guild podcast news, SWTOR Escape Podcast 265 live Osis flyby. This week, Seema Max the Grey did a live tour of the new planet of Osis on the PTS, which is, you'll find out in the SWTOR news, coming out soon and looks awesome. And also in Escape Podcast 266, There's Only Pieces. Nice play on words there, Max. Seema and Max the Grey continue to slice the Flesh Raiders and other wildlife to pieces on Titan as they get back to their Jedi story progress.
Very fitting.
Yep.
Alrighty. In Nomad news, specifically Destiny 2. As we mentioned, a lot of guildies are taking advantage of the free game offer running now through the 18th. See the Destiny channel in our Discord for discussion of guild support and getting things going and getting gear progression and onto the end game. So for those not in the know, there is if you have a Battle.net account, you can claim a free copy of Destiny 2 Year 1. And that's everything. It does not include the new expansion Forsaken, also known as Year 2.
Cool.
But it's a permanent game. You get to play it forever.
Yep.
That part of it. And of course you can build on it, which is what Blizzard's interested in. But it's very important to note that yes, you can only claim it through the 18th, but after that you can keep playing, which is why I was willing to do it with my son. And my first thought when I look at these notes was, we have a Destiny 2 clan?
Yep.
We did.
So yeah, definitely gonna look into that.
Yep. It is. It definitely needs a little bit more activity, which this is definitely going to help. And to further help that, as we have here, if you find yourself enjoying that free game you just got, there is currently a Refer a Friend event where existing players with Year 2 Forsaken can invite those that have gotten the free copy, or if they just happen to buy the Year 1 copy themselves, and invite them into Forsaken Year 2. If you play together, you can earn all kinds of fun rewards. These include an exotic sniper rifle, a ship, and even an exotic sparrow for those that refer multiple friends. So highly recommended. If you find yourself liking Destiny Year 1, go ahead and hit somebody up that you might play with or would like to play with and say, hey, refer me so we can do the Forsaken stuff.
Perfect.
I think we've got a great opportunity there because I'm looking through my friends list to see who else is playing Destiny 2. I was surprised to see how many of my AIE friends are playing. They're low level, so clearly they're taking advantage of the free opportunity. So I think I I guess we can probably expect to see, if we can get the word out, especially some more people joining that clan. And let me tell you, I've been playing World of Warcraft. I think most people in the guild know that that's my game. I'm playing World of Warcraft for a long time, and I don't play a lot of consoles or that sort of thing. But this game is gorgeous. Like, I go back to WoW and go, oh wow, this is. I mean, it's nice and I love it, but it's almost ugly compared to Destiny 2. That is one beautiful game.
Polished. Yeah, the Destiny 2 is the high polished, sheen, futuristic, metal reflection stuff that WoW doesn't do. The other thing is, if you are interested in year 2, it is 25% off through tomorrow. So,
perfect. Okay,
jump in now.
So I do have to ask real quick. I'm actually contractually obligated because you mentioned exotic Sparrow. Sparrow needs to know if there's fishing in this game. And he's fishing for exotic things, perhaps?
I mean, Stretch here, Mo. We want Sparrow in the game. Stretch. Find something.
Hey, there's water, and you can do stuff with the water and catch things in the water. So sure, why not?
Okay, awesome. So Sparrow, there you go, buddy.
Right?
There's your answer.
You can use
water. That's fishing, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can imagine.
Thank you.
Yes. And in other news, Fallout 76, as we mentioned earlier, there may be a few guildies diving into Fallout 76 starting November 14th. That's only in a few days. The beta seemed to go well enough, and I personally am looking forward to exploring the irradiated wilds of West Virginia. This is basically the multiplayer Fallout experience, Fallout 4 in particular. So if you're a Fallout fan and want to play with your fellow guildies, please feel free to join in. We're waiting.
Awesome. And mandatory fun night. We have a schedule. And remember, the fun is mandatory. The attendance is not. On Monday, we have Guild Wars 2 at 9:30 Eastern Time. On Tuesday, SOTOR at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. On Friday, we have both ESO and Final Fantasy XIV at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. On Saturday, we have SGO at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Saturday, we have New Braid at 11 p.m. Eastern Time.
All right. And speaking of New Braid, I love those transitions. They decided to be brave and left behind the safety of LFR to actually venture into Uldir normal mode last night. And they managed to get 3 of 8 bosses before Vectus ended our rampage. Yeah, Vectus is, a ton of fun was had. And they're looking forward to trying again next week. So, Card, tell us what happened last night.
Yeah, so...
As live reporting here.
As many of you may know, I help out a lot with New Braid every week, and we always have a great time. And you mentioned Sparrow, and I want to thank Sparrow for starting this and
thanks, dude.
Getting this going, because it's been a great experience for it got me into raiding, and I'm happy to help out with it and give back to things. But in BFA, it's been very popular. We've been full or almost full every week. We started in LFR, which limited us to 25 people, but by going into normal now, we've got up to 30. We've got room for 30. We had 27 last night. So there's been lots of participation, lots of people who are interested in coming and learning in this very, low stress environment. It's been great, and we've had a lot of laughs. The great thing about New Braid is because, there's not that pressure there. There's a lot of opportunity to enjoy ourselves, a lot of opportunity to laugh at things. Just there's never that, that criticism, that pressure, like, oh, I'm letting everybody down or anything like that. So it's been a ton of fun. And so we've done LFR and been very successful. We actually got Cahoon down twice in LFR, which was cool. Nice. So it gave everybody an opportunity to be introduced to that. And the thing about Uldir this time around, I was actually talking to one of the devs at BlizzCon, and he was talking about Uldir in general and the new, the first raid in any expansion, sort of their introductory one, the one that they want everybody to sort of get used to raiding again. And so they built it kind of this way. But the great thing about Uldir is that even in LFR, a lot of the dynamics are still there. A lot of the mechanics are still there. It's about 80% of them. So LFR really prepared us pretty well to do normal going forward. So we one-shot Talek, got him no problem. We had a little bit of fun on Mother and got her on the second one. As anybody who's been in Uldir knows, there's a bit of trash up to the next one, so we laughed our way through that. One-shot Fetid. Fetid Devourer is not a mechanically complicated fight, but it's always your test of, do you have enough DPS? And it was great to know that we did have that, because that set us up for Vectus. And we had hope going into Vectus, and we wiped 4 times. But that's okay, because Vectis is really that's where the mechanics start to ramp up really in Old Deer, and honestly, since Noob Raid is a learning raid, part of learning to raid is learning how to wipe and learning how to recover from that, and understanding that wiping is learning and that sort of thing. And we hope that by sort of keeping everything fun and upbeat, even in the face of wiping 4 times, that we keep that positivity going, and that we welcome people into raiding, whether they decide to keep raiding with Noob Raid or whether they decide to move on to one of the other groups. Awesome. That's really our objective. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that update. Yeah, I think because you can go to Vectis or you can go to
Zekvaz is the other one. Yeah.
Zekvaz. Yeah. We did Vectis first and then went over to Zekvaz and actually found Zekvaz easier after doing Vectis first, because it taught the personal responsibility. And then when you go to Zekvaz, you're like, oh yeah, this is easy. Stay out of this, drop the puddles here, go. We're good.
Yeah. So a lot of the reason I think that we decided to go toward Vectis is because Vectis is structurally the same fight. The mechanics are all the same. It's just a ramp up of the damage and his hit points. When you go to Zekvaz, he's probably the big outlier in Old Deer in that he doesn't introduce a couple of new mechanics, specifically in the ads. And so we sort of decided, and the orb catching, of course, becomes even more important in that one. So we thought that since a lot of people were there with us and had been there a couple of the previous weeks, that we wanted to sort of stick with something that was mechanically a bit more similar. Mm-hmm. But we have every hope that next week we'll get Vectis down, and then we'll move on to Zekvaz and have even more fun.
Yep. And the other thing that really helps is that that stacking buff, but it's actually a debuff to the content. So as you get people through that, and as they get a piece of the older gear, older Azerite gear that has that on, that it makes it easier. And that's what we've found is we've been able to progress further the more people got the gear and the higher those stacks went. So yeah,
that's re-origination array. So
exactly. Yep. All right.
What else do we have coming up here, Tet?
Yep. And in December, community events. Do you like fighting the Alliance? Of course you do.
Of course.
We have Coop set for Wintervale. No date yet, but keep an eye on the AIE-guild.org website and also the Discord. Perfect. And there will be a time after time walking event on December 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern, also known as server time. They're going to do Lich King Ulduar time walking raid. Details will be posted to the blog. And since they fixed everything so you can actually save lockouts, should be much easier.
It will be a day to be remembered.
Yep. November Officer Playdate, November 30th at 10 p.m. Eastern. We are having an Overwatch night, and everyone is invited. Come to get to know your fellow officers outside of WoW. And let's see how many custom games and groups we can get going. I'm calling dibs on Ash because damn. All right.
Right?
Raid Bank. Yeah. And there is a Raid Bank pilot program. This program is doing really well, and we're getting a lot of positive feedback. So if you're interested in applying for a Raid Team Guild Bank tab, please email us. If you are the leader of a Raid team that might be interested in this program once it's approved, or have questions or feedback about such a program, please email us with the details, such as your Raid team name, the Raid leader's name, and your preferred AIE co-guild. Right.
Good stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Card, you said you had a little bit of experience with
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that the new pilot program. My raid team, better late than never, as I mentioned earlier. We've been piloting this along with Dojo of Awesome, and we found it incredibly useful to have. It's just great for not having to coordinate materials. You know, if you've got something useful, you just dump it in the bank. You need something useful, that to help the raid, you just pull it out of the bank. It's made coordination and especially on the consumable side a whole lot easier. And this is crucial, of course, in BFA because the cost of everything is gigantic. Somebody did the calculations.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Somebody did the calculations a while back and said that for a night for like 3 hours, and it was like 15 pulls or something along those lines, 15 wipes of progression cost 30,000 gold per raider.
Yeah,
worth of mats.
It's ridiculous. Yeah,
it really is. So having the guild bank there and facilitating that movement of, I'm an expert in this and I can gather this and that sort of thing has been fantastic. So if you're interested, it's really a fantastic resource for people.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
All right. Then on to ESO. For those not aware, there is a free trial of ESO Plus service that starts Thursday, 11:15, and runs until Wednesday, 11:21. The trial will allow free access to all of the DLC packs, the crafting bag, which is the most important part, honestly, costume dyes, and a 10% increase in experience and gold earnings. It's a great way to check out some of the benefits of the paid subscription. And honestly, it's for that craft bag. Like, even if you aren't going to be playing a lot, log in once so that it puts all of your stuff in the craft bag, because that alone is worth the free.
I agree.
Yeah. So at least log in once with each of your characters, get your stuff in the craft bag. You will just revel in all the extra space you have suddenly. Also on 11/15, the Clockwork City Celebration event begins and runs until 11:21. During this time frame, double mats will be harvested from crafting nodes. There will be double reward boxes for completing daily quests, and the drops from all boss fights will double as well. During this event, you can earn 2 event tickets from the first daily quest to help you purchase the Indrik feathers needed for the new Indrik mount. Mandatory fun is, of course, on that Friday, 11/16 at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll focus on the Clockwork City Zone due to the celebration event.
Awesome. And if in STO news, if you haven't created an Age of Discovery captain, it is highly recommended. You start out in the timeline of the Discovery show. The story they put in there is really good. And there's even a reference to some of the other cadets with names that you should recognize if you're watching the show. Also, Black Friday is coming up, so there are sales. They always have some great deals at the C-Store, from bonus Zen if you purchase it, to discounted ships, to special packs, and lots of other stuff. Currently, the Phoenix Prize pack are back, but you only have until tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time to claim one or buy them with the lithium. So, do that now. There is also a 20% sale on all Lobby store items until tomorrow at 10 a.m. as well. And until December 6th, a lifetime subscription is $100. So currently only $199. Oh, lifetime $100 off, or is $100 instead of $199?
I will have to look and see what he actually meant. Sorry, I was copying notes.
I think it's normally about 300. So
okay, yeah, so it's $100 off. There we go. Yeah. And if you're debating this and waiting for a sale, it is now on sale. And again, that is through December 6th.
Awesome. 'Tis the season for sales.
Yes.
All right. And in SWTOR news, speaking of space shenanigans. Wait, no, we haven't got to Eve yet. Okay, SWTOR news. Gotcha. Patch 5.105.x. Let's see. Yeah, 5.x. That's what Max calls it. V.x. That's what he calls it. All right. Is dropping on December 11th. It's a big update. Lots of guild stuff in it. Yeah, if you're interested, they actually are doing guild leveling and guild perks and stuff that we've seen WoW try and do and a couple other games try and do. So we'll see how successful Star Wars is at it. It looks interesting. There's lots of ton of stuff to contribute to it. Just take a look at the patch notes. Look at the recent blog post that Eric Musco's posted. It looks like it's going to be definitely a very fun activity and bring the guild even closer together to hit some of those goals. In our November Mega event is coming up on November 30th. We promise no one will die, honest, this time.
Really?
I don't believe
it. And
it's
the December Mega... Nobody dies. December Mega is also go. Beware, there might be snowballs involved. Oh, thank God. More details as we get closer. Just for those that don't know, they do a Life Day celebration in December along with everything else. But there's a snowball event where you can go to Nar Shaddaa, go into a couple of the areas, and you throw snowballs at overheating droids. And it's a really good way of leveling up your command XP. So if you still got a couple tunes that you're trying to get to 300, now's the time to do it when that event comes up, because it's fun to just sit there and chat, run around with everyone, throw snowballs at things. It's awesome.
Yep.
All right. And last night they also had SWTOR Unite, which was all the SWTOR podcasters united for a night, and they took on the Gods from the Machine operation. AIE was well represented by Max, Seema, Marcus, and last-minute fill-in was Corley. They went for about 4 hours and had a blast. In the end, Isaacs was still standing, but they had a fun night. And there's a video linked in the show notes if you are interested in taking a look. It was a fun event.
Sounds like it. All right, so now this is more news for Final Fantasy 15 than 14, but it's related. On December 12th, if you happen to have a copy of Final Fantasy 15, you'll be able to participate in a fun side quest where Final Fantasy 14 invades Eos. There will be a Makoti adventurer, which is curiously still in her starter gear, so I'm not sure how she managed to get over there. But she will be chasing down the Primal Garuda. Hopefully, Noctis will return the favor and visit us in Eorzea.
Awesome. Hey, Link, is there any Eve news going on?
Is there some Eve news? You know, nothing really important ever happens in Eve.
Okay, good night.
Except for like betrayal, heartbreak, Vex, Corpus getting kicked out of the Alliance and leaving the Alliance, so it's now free for all. And you know, we have this saying. You guys mentioned Mega because we have our own hashtag Mega, where we're making Eve great again.
Oh no!
No.
And just so you know, this Tuesday there's this little winter update called Onslaught that's coming. So remember last time I was on, we talked about all those structures that are coming online and all that PvE content's going on. And yes, we happen to be involved in another war in Eve. Go figure. And we just maybe making a new home for ourselves.
Again.
Murder hobos.
Murder hobos.
All right, I'll get the booming box moving truck ready.
Because if there's something that we're really good at,
it's moving.
Well, besides moving, is stomping on the necks of unsuspecting tiny alliances. Because why not? So,
all right.
So there you go. So, and also there's a little bit of a Easter egg for your folks, as I'm calling it now. There will soon be a very hilarious kill mill that's coming for strategic OPSEC that I can't talk about or say. It's going to be glorious.
Awesome.
See the show or like
no, because like keeps going after he pulls the Johnson, so it's now
true. Yep. So he says I can't talk about it, and then talks about it anyway.
Right.
I'm known for pulling. I'm known for chain Johnson.
Chain pulling Johnson.
Chaining Johnsons. Oh, we're not going to go into what that means.
No,
right?
Moving on.
It's not after hours yet. All right. In Lord of the Rings news, the Legendary server is opening. The Legendary server opening, something that AIE team is just jumping on. It's kind of described as WoW Classic LOTOR. There's a guild there and a handful of people kicking off new old school characters. There's information on that at LOTOR's website, lotor.com/en/legendary. Only VIP and VIP lifers can access them, and we're effectively starting over all at once. Helgod, the first Helgorod, the first raid back in the day, will be the ultimate goal of after hitting level 40. Currently, AIE is on Anor, but they could move to Ithil if it warrants the login queues. SSG is offering, by the way, free transfers. So hey, it's cool. There's actually LOTOR news, and we're doing something there.
Cool.
All right. So with all that news, and we'll normally be wrapping up this show, but now we're going to get into our main topic. Let's go ahead and talk about your BlizzCon, your experiences, and your takeaways. And we're going to go ahead and start with our guests first, because we're going alphabetically.
I guess that starts with me, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So this was my first BlizzCon, and the two things that I took away from it that just really amazed me. So first of all, it was just an unbelievable time, and even though whether the announcements were great or the announcements disappointed you or whatever, just to have those people there, just to have those Blizzard devs there to talk about things and to have fun and hang out was just an unbelievable experience, and I've got to get back to it. And I might talk about how I might be able to pull that off. But just, possibly the best thing was that you go there and you're surrounded by, we found out later, 40,000 people, all of whom have the same interests you do. I mean, there's only 5 games in the Blizzard universe, so the chances that you play a game that they do are incredibly
good,
high. So they're clearly passionate about it. They were willing to spend this kind of money to be there, so they love it. They love talking about it. They love socializing about it. You've got something in common with everybody. So right from the get-go, right when I got there on Con Before the Storm Thursday night, sit down next to a bunch of people, all I was doing was taking a load off my feet, and boom, you're in a conversation, and then you're exchanging Twitter handles and stuff. It was fantastic. And that happened all through the entire experience.
Yes. People seem to forget or think, oh, I'm going to go to this convention and just going to go watch all the games, not realizing that the actual kind of jewel within the convention is actually meeting folks that you usually wouldn't meet, or meeting folks that you've been playing for decades with, and only now getting to meet them, going, hey, I remember you, and just kind of reminiscing, just kind of talking.
Yep.
So it's that whole social component.
And of course, some of the people that you run into are, not just, other players, but we're hanging out. I was hanging out with Lank. He's on my screen over there. I was hanging out with Lank on Friday night, I guess it was. And, everybody, it's getting late and people are kind of leaving. And then I look over, and who's sitting there but the guy who now runs WoW. John Haidt is sitting there in the Marriott lobby having a drink. And, he's talking to a couple people, but I stood there a little bit and he notices me, and I got 20 minutes with the executive producer of WoW,
Oh, nice.
And he was nothing but gracious. He was nothing but eager and willing to give of his time. I mean, this is literally midnight, eager to give of his time, eager to talk about whatever I was interested in. I will give one recommendation. I was talking to somebody about this because they were like, well, what do I talk to the devs about? And what I realized is that, a lot of us want to give sort of complaints, or we want to give feedback, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, the other doesn't work. But what I found really worked well was to ask questions. Why does this work this way? So I'll give you one example. I talked to one of the devs about the trash around Zool, with anybody who's done the Zool encounter in Old Deer. There is literally, I'm not exaggerating, 20 minutes of trash before Zool. Right. So I asked, why is that? Why is that? And they explained it to me. They explained why, why that is the case, And so now I understand, and it makes a little more sense, and maybe I agree, maybe I disagree. But when we don't know what's going on, we make up all these, Blizzard doesn't care, Blizzard, whatever. But when you talk to them and you have an opportunity to ask them, why is that the case? I think it makes a whole lot more, usually you get some kind of answer. And we found this, of course, with Ian Hazzikostas, who, by the way, was also in the Marriott, the Marriott lobby for a while. We found with Ian Hazzikostas, he usually has an answer, but sometimes you don't like that answer. That's okay. Yeah. But at least you ask those questions. And so when you're sitting there and they're doing these dev Q&As and, they don't get to your question, maybe remember that one for BlizzCon, and you have a chance to talk to them about it the next time around.
Yeah.
Because you never know. They might be right next door while you're having a drink going, oh, hi. Hey, I got a question. Yeah. So, and it's one of those things that it's like, as you mentioned, it's not this like, there's a lot of things of like people will say, oh, well, there's Blizzard's detached. No, they're not. They're sitting right next to you. They're hobnobbing right next to you. They're ordering a burrito right next to you.
Right.
From the BlizzCon. Unless you're at the burrito truck.
Okay. Yep.
And not your fault, but
the other cool thing was talking about the devs, that I actually reached out to a couple of them on Twitter the day before, maybe a couple of days before, because they're so I have a particular interest. I'm a server engineer by profession, so I was interested in some of that tech stuff, and that's not the kind of thing they talk about in panels. So if there's things that people are interested in that there's not a panel about, if you can find that person at Blizzard who is interested in that, who does that, and you want to talk to them. I had a couple of 2-hour sessions, I kid you not, 2-hour sessions with people who work on World of Warcraft, talking about tech stuff, or one of them was geeking out about hunter stuff, which is also my thing, and they were perfectly willing to sit there and talk to us about all of this stuff. So you have this opportunity to talk to these specialists and make these arrangements in advance as well. So that's another great thing that you can do. There really are interested in talking to you about this stuff, especially some of the people who don't get as much face time, who don't get the opportunity to talk to, up on the stage and stuff. They want to talk about this too, because they really are passionate about what they do.
Very cool.
So, Lank, just an aside, what was the thing with the food truck? You couldn't go to the food truck unless you had a con badge?
So,
yeah.
And this was something that was unexpected and actually, was a little bit of a bummer, but we worked our way around it. Because of security concerns, they were required. They went ahead and fenced the area around the food trucks, which kind of sucked. But what are you gonna do? Welcome to the new reality that is where we go. Not to get too much into politics.
Yeah.
But it's we just kind of roll with it, and we kind of adapt as we usually do because like half of BlizzCon is just making stuff up as you come across it. I mean,
I know there were a couple people that drove down to do the food trucks, and because they didn't have a badge, they couldn't get in. So
so what we ended up doing was we had a little bit of a meetup next to the Sheridan because there's a quiet little area next to the Sheridan pool that's just full of tables. So
perfect.
So we still had the meetup there. Grim, Mezzoti, Senior Geek, aka Gary from formerly Electronics,
Disney,
and yep, he's now with Disney. Yes, and we just had lunch there and hung out and talked about stuff. But that because of the changes to security, that's what we had to do. We had to make it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it just means that for next year, because one of the issues that for various just logistic reasons, we couldn't have the guild hall this year.
Right.
I can say that if we had been successful in raising the money for the guild hall and actually run the guild hall, it would have been really difficult to run with the extra security there. So all it means that for next year, it's going to require some extra bit of talking and kind of discussing and actually creating a bit more contingency plans because, if there's one thing that we learned about BlizzCon is that expect the unexpected.
Right.
So we need to work with with when things like this happen. Luckily we have Discord, we have Twitter. We're able to kind of be more agile and kind of having these meetups on the fly. We still had our Friday night meetup. We had the Saturday meetup, and of course we had the very traditional Tiffies. Let's have breakfast and carbo load the next day.
Yep.
But it didn't mean that we couldn't get together and talk with each other. We still could, and we're more creative about it.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And if there's one thing that I've learned about the folks in AIE is
we're creative.
We're creative. We're troubleshooters. It's like oh look, there's a problem. Hey,
let's take care of this.
Let's fix that. Let's be subversive and figure things out. So there, so it, yes, it was a little bit of a bummer. Yes, it kind of sucked, but again, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. You adapt and overcome. Oh wait.
Always.
Yes, indeed. But even with all of those challenges, got an opportunity to meet a lot of people that I played with in game. Hi, Grim. For a long time. Got to talk to them, put some names to faces, that sort of thing, and voices, of course. As part of it. We still had a great time. We still got to connect with each other. We had some interesting conversations, right, Lank, about what we might do next year. So
good exciting stuff's coming up.
I definitely love to help out with that. So hopefully we can make some things happen next year.
We'll see what happens. And to the point, again, for AIE, it's always been kind of a social thing. I mean, completely unexpected. I ran into Nakar at the con. He was there with his wife and his son. And, Nakar is someone I used to run back in the old days.
So that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I know. And it's like, oh, I remember we used to raid Karazhan together back in the day.
Right.
We were talking about the days of Tark and how he would we would play DJs back then, and it was great because he had I believe his son is now 14. So when we were first raiding, his son was sitting on his knee watching Daddy raid, and here we are talking to this 14-year-old. We're talking strategy on raiding, and we're actually talking the game, and it's just like, man, I'm old.
Right.
But it's really cool.
It not only shows the longevity of the game, but also the longevity of the community. The people who are literally almost born into this community are now coming into it and contributing to it, and that's beautiful. It's really beautiful to see. It's wonderful to see, and something as somebody who has maybe slightly fewer gray hairs than Lank, but not by a whole lot. That's sort of revolutionary to see. For me, having grown up without the internet and then suddenly seeing all of this, and sure, I've been a part of it forever, but it's delightful. It's this wonderful change to see in the world.
It's really interesting, though. You're talking about what do you put in those names to your faces, is because very much AIE is is our online family, and it's kind of a very surreal feeling being in the same room with your family, being in the same place with these people that you have interacted with for years, that you've rated with for years, that you've been communicating with for so long, and now you're together. And that's like the best thing about BlizzCon, the best thing about any of those events, tackle same type of thing is. Yeah, it's not just walking into your guild chat and saying, "Hey, how you guys doing?" It's, oh my gosh, it's around the table at Tiffy's, and it is it's guild chat.
Yeah, it's like when you're playing WoW or any game within AIE, you focus on the game, you're talking game specific stuff, but you get together at BlizzCon or any kind of meetup really with the folks you play, and you were able to expand the conversation, get to know a little bit better. I mean, Cardinal and I were busy talking like business economics, the business of video games.
Cognitive psychology was another topic on Friday night.
Yeah,
the kind of thing that you talk about in guild chat all the time.
Yeah, the kind of stuff that's like, oh, it's like what is like Jungian concepts of like social constructs and
right.
Kind of like, and it's like, wow, Cardinal, you're smart.
Right.
Oh, boy, do I have you fooled. But, but one thing I was thinking about, though, in the context of all of this is sort of that what we have in relationships really is they're mostly based on shared experiences, and in the past, the only way to really have a shared experience with anyone was to be physically present with them.
Right.
And this is the first time possibly in human history, I haven't thought the whole thing through, but possibly in human history when we can have significant shared experiences with other people and not have seen them. And that's a remarkable change.
Significant, immediate experiences, because certainly
real time.
We had pen pals, we had things like that. But that's something that started when we were all younger with message boards and such. But yeah, no, it's amazing where you can have a very close friendship with somebody who you're never in the same room with.
And then
that's something that amazes me.
And then there's, to your point, then you've got that immediacy of they're there. And it's almost as if they're more real in some strange mental form, more real than they were before. Which is pretty weird and pretty remarkable at the same time. And I think that's what you mean by, it's surreal to have them there because you're used to this interaction, which is with their avatar or in your ears, but now it's, with your eyes and you can touch them and stuff like that. It's delightful.
Yeah, because you know the voice. You know how how they're going to react to something. You won't know it's going to happen tonally, but then you can look at that's what their face does when they're reacting.
Yeah, no. The case in point where I was sharing a story with Cardinal about like a few years ago, like 6 years ago, I took a family friend who came from Pittsburgh into LA, and I took her to a BlizzCon. And, she was one of the typical kind of like mopey, morose teenage kids who didn't fit in high school. She was kind of artsy and, she was bullied and it's just, she never kind of fit in. And I take her to BlizzCon and it's just like, there are 40,000 people just like me here.
Yeah.
Like me. And it's scary and exhilarating at the same time. And it's like, typical meetup.
And to your point, sort of, that awkwardness goes away, or is mitigated. I won't say it goes away, but that awkwardness is somewhat mitigated because it's suddenly that and you have to watch it a little bit. I'm a pretty outgoing guy, so it's not for me. This is not my experience, but I think you sort of have to stand back and look at how the interactions go. But once you see that strangers are connecting with each other, that people are having conversations, that people are not getting upset, that they're not, trying, doing that, hey, how do I get out of here, thing with strangers. Once you see that and you've established that is in fact how this is going to go, then that gives you that courage to step forward and say, maybe I do introduce myself to this person, or I just sit next to them and see what they do, and stuff like that.
It gives you the opportunity and the strength to be your authentic you, if you know what I mean. Because for various reasons, for whatever like places we work with or work in or go to school with or get to know, you can't really be your authentic self as much as you like to be because, they're going to think I'm weird. They think video games are a silly, crazy thing. And it's just like, dude, do that.
Right.
Everyone here plays video games. and probably playing one of the video games you're playing right now, what a perfect opportunity to not only kind of, strengthen those friends and actually make new friends.
Very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, any other stuff, the non BlizzCon specific stuff we want to go over? Because I know we tend to ramble, and we have a lot to talk about, and that's not the best part. This is like the heart of AIE part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mew, what about the con before the stuff?
Are you saying you want to talk about Diablo Immortal?
We'll do that in a few minutes. So there'll be some butthurt. I mean, I'm talking about that, yes, but
no, it was the typical fun stuff. A lot of our fellow guildies actually were on a lot of the podcasts panels for Con Before the Storm / World of Podcasts, and it was great to hear. They had some wonderful discussions. They even had a Blizzard employee on there, and it was fun watching him sweat because I used to work with him. It was kind of fun.
Oh no!
They would get asked the hard questions.
Oh, was that James?
Yeah.
Oh God, he was hilarious. Yeah. They were making him sweat. He's like, well, my former friend Rob pulled me up here.
Love it.
I swear I was waiting for Ashley to bust in and go, no.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. No, but to your other point, we know there is a little bit of controversy. Yes, there's issues with people were kind of like a little upset about Diablo Immortal and supposedly no Diablo 4, but that's been covered to death everywhere else, and you can read that everywhere else. And we could happily talk about that at length about that offline, because where we live,
right?
Yeah, so you can talk to us there. But
I will take this opportunity to say one thing about it. It's not really about Diablo Immortal, but I can recommend to everybody John Statz's book. I don't know if you've heard about this. This was the Kickstarter that one of the really old school WoW devs did of a book. It was called The Developer Diary that he wrote during the development of World of Warcraft originally. And I recommend it in general, but one of the things he says in the introduction, one of the first things he says is, unless you're in the room where these decisions get made, you don't know why they get made.
Yep.
And he said that was his experience when he first started at Blizzard. That was the first thing he noticed. And it was the first thing he wanted everybody to know is the reasons these things happen are almost never the reasons anybody thinks so. So when you're talking about this, when you're hearing these opinions, and I agree with Lank that there's, a lot of places that have talked this thing, out to death, but remember that, if you're not in the room where it happened, Hamilton reference,
the room where it happens, yes,
yeah, exactly, then you probably don't know
make
why.
Me sing.
So just keep that kind of intellectual humility in mind would be my
right.
And
I'm sorry to bring it back to AIE. There's probably a bunch of AIE people playing Diablo Immortal together because multiplayer and on, so look forward to that.
So there you go. All more reason to kill your battery with friends.
Yes,
exactly.
Very much so.
Because now I'm gonna have to upgrade my phone because
I
am a cheap bastard and running with a phone that's 2 generations back, and now it's so do we. I'm going to have to get a newer phone because my battery is garbage. And now, my friends, thanks again, Blizzard, for making money.
Yep.
Oh, I love you. It's bad enough that I have to build a new PC gaming rig because I have to, because I'm tired of having to play Overwatch on Xbox One. Please, Gildy, you want to play Xbox One with me, please, because I need a friend in Overwatch.
All right. So, any of the peripheral BlizzCon stuff before we go into the specifics?
That we had the usual DizCon.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I've already told Tet we're going out for that part next year.
Yeah. Well, and it just happens that usually that DizCon is also on Dapper Day.
Dapper Day.
And it's always a lot of fun, and not only to see your fellow AIE guild members all dressed up for Dapper Day, it's just to see the whole park just full of these people in these dapper outfits. That, I mean, it makes you wonder if this is what it looked like back in the 50s.
Right.
Now, is it just Dapper Day in general, or do they have a specific time frame of where they want you to kind of dress up in?
No, I think it's in general.
There is, I believe, the day before or days before that the actual in Disney event, there actually is kind of a little mini convention for the Dapper Day stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it was a Saturday. I know for sure at the Disneyland Hotel because Besame was there.
Yeah.
Cosmetics.
Yeah, because my problem being is if I went to Dapper Day, I'd be like all Gordon Gecko'd out because I actually have nothing that's kind of like old timey or Victoriana or
that still works. It's the thing is you don't have to be old timey. It's just you're dapper, whether it's old timey
you're dressed up,
or current time dapper. It's just period.
Isn't Victorian dapper not a whole lot more than wear a suit and a top hat?
Exactly.
Add a cane and a monocle, and then you've really got it.
Oh, tail and monocle and spats. I have spats.
I mean,
do this. Do it.
A non-Worgen form Gilnean would fit right in.
Yes.
Did you guys see the Gilnean clan that was there? There were like 6 or 7 cosplayers, and they were everywhere together, and they had the whole derision for everybody else thing going. It was they had a real character going. It was really fun.
Yep.
Being all elitist and such. He's like, oh.
Victorians are very good at that.
Oh, yes, they were.
Very much so.
Yep. Yeah, and it was a great day. I mean, I even saw some 1920s dapper people there.
I we definitely were sent that picture and in remembrance of our the meet and greet night for Nerdtacular that year when we did the Disney Disney flapper theme.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. So yeah, that was a great day. And since we also happened to have lately, at least, BlizzCon's been near Disney, I actually was able to get a ticket to the Mickey's Halloween. So that was fun to go into the park and do trick or treating in the park.
Yeah.
And
were they still doing like the haunted house, like the Jack Skellington, like haunted mansion? Still?
Yeah, that's all through Halloween, and it keeps going past Christmas.
I love it when they do that.
I love that. I know.
Yeah, and that was definitely one of the things we did on Sunday as a group. Was we all went into the haunted mansion. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. I wish I was there, but I had to work.
Yeah.
God, and it's hard to explain to my wife. Oh, I'm going to go to Disneyland without me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that's grounds for divorce.
Oh
no, I've done it to you.
Yeah.
Well, you don't understand. So my wife used to work for Disney.
Yeah.
And Imagineering. So, heaven help me if I go in there without her.
Yeah.
So I think Ted's okay with me going without him, but you're right, vice versa. He's in trouble if he goes in without me.
Yeah. Life isn't fair, but there you go. You roll with the punches. Yes.
All right. So, BlizzCon specific now. What are your guys' biggest thoughts? I'm going to go ahead. So we watch it from a different viewpoint. Mm-hmm. So Ted, I'm actually going to go reverse now. I'm going to start with you on this one.
All right. So I watched it obviously on the virtual ticket and all the hiccups that come with that. The only thing I will say is the virtual ticket worked really well if you wanted to stay on one thing or you knew where the next thing was. But I seem to remember last year they actually had it in the virtual ticket by stages, so you could just click on say I know what I want is on this stage. They didn't do that this year. It was just here's the WoW stream, here's the Heroes stream and stuff like that, so it made jumping to where you wanted to go very difficult to figure it out. But we kind of made it happen, so it wasn't that bad. But overall thoughts really positive. They had a lot of fun announcements. Some were expected, Hearthstone expansion, some unexpected, Diablo Immortal. I loved listening to, as you guys were talking about, the before the con panels, as well as a lot of the BlizzCon panels, the WoW panels, like the Q&A, the Warcraft 3 Reforged panels were awesome. The costume and talent contest was really well done. Yeah, having Darren DePaul do that, just his enthusiasm and everything, and that they took time to talk to everyone. At least the finalists got to do all that. I thought it was much better than the previous years they've done. And the Candy, yeah, he did that about 2 times too many. No, all right,
but only 2. It was usually really funny, but
yeah. And then listening to the Warcraft Horde and Alliance voice actor panel was awesome, especially when they brought out the lady that does a turtle made it to the water.
Oh my gosh, she was so adorable.
Was adorable. Yeah, it looked like Heather's grandmother. I mean, she was just just adorable.
Let me tell you a story about that panel. Are you going to the end?
Okay,
yeah,
because I was there, and so I was just taking a load off, and that panel happened to be happening, nearby. It was up in the Dark Moon Fair, and it was packed as they usually are. But so I'm just kind of listening in, and I'm doing something on my phone, updating Twitter, whatever it was, and then I start to hear the song, and you probably know what the song is, and it was, of course, the Daughter of the Sea. And the original voice actress, whose name escapes me a second, somebody knows it, I'm sure.
Laura Bailey.
Laura Bailey gets up there and she sings live one guitar and 5 backup singers that song.
It was amazing.
And not only was it amazing, but I stand up and immediately go, I got to see this. Okay. And I'm watching the entire Dark Moon Fair hall doing exactly the same thing, moving in because they know how amazing the song is, when it's just, when they're recording. And when you see it live and the immediacy of that and the imminence of that it's even more powerful. And I don't know if you can see it. I think you can see it on the VOD, but if you haven't, focus in on her face in the last 20 seconds of that, because she's just about crying. And she's an actress.
Yeah.
These are voice actresses, but their job, what did they go into? They went in to be actors and actresses. And so, I did a tiny bit on stage. And so you're internalizing that character because you're trying to portray that character as much as possible. So she is trying in that moment to feel what Jaina Proudmoore feels about betraying her father and all that stuff. And she portrays that, and that makes it just unbelievably powerful. And I'm so grateful I was able to be there for that.
While you're mentioning that, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that because this reminds me of when I was there at BlizzCon a few years ago, when they did Lament of the Highborn live.
Right.
Oh my word, that must have been amazing.
And of course the con was much smaller then, but I still remember everyone just stopping and turning around, and like 20,000 people just stopping and just listening to this, little blonde woman with a guitar singing. And what you didn't get to know is that she actually went outside and did an encore, and that again, it's just like, it's those little moments where it's like I hate to use the term stupefaction,
right?
But when you're sitting there going, wow,
right,
and it's like you mentioning, like the Daughter of the Sea. This was one of those moments as well. Yeah, and it just they pop actually really frequently. And it's one of those things that it's like, you just have to be there to catch it.
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting is on that panel, Laura told, I forget the lady's name that runs the voice actor, but she actually told her on stage that she's terrified of performing live. And the person didn't know that and had planned all this, and so it's like, but no, she absolutely knocked it out of the park. It was amazing. That was one of my favorite parts. I know, Cardinal, you also had a favorite part during one of the panels.
Yeah, during the WoW Q&A, I happened to get there a little early, so I had a very good seat for that. I'm, sitting, Scott's right there, and it's, again, there's that immediacy of live, and so it starts, and he gets the first question. I think it was Terpster, and then the second question somebody else, and the third question is, oh, that's an interesting voice, and I'm looking to my right. And I'm like, is that who and he keeps going, and it's Chris Metzen, of course, and the whole place is, you probably saw it, they stand up and they're cheering because Chris is back, and the sort of thing. And by the way, special cameo. I don't know if anybody noticed it. I actually watched the VOD of this today. Randy Deluxe is
right there.
Right behind.
That's his job.
You can see his mop of hair there.
Yeah, you can see the fro is there. It's very distinctive. So yeah, and when he says, when is the Horde getting its real war chief back?
Oh my God.
And I yelled out that wonderful video, of course, with Sourfang at the beginning. I want my Horde back, and I actually yelled that out. And if you're looking for it, you can hear it on the VOD, but whatever, but that got everybody moving. And I think Scott mentioned it on the instance as well, that there's nobody quite like Chris to get that kind of reaction out of it.
He talked about it on TMS also a bit, had the whole thing transpired and all that.
And I also noticed, looking at the VOD, that they had the red and the blue lights when he calls out to the Alliance and the Horde.
Really?
And I'm like, oh, this was planned.
Yep.
You know, somebody knew it was coming. I don't know if Scott did, but somebody knew it was coming.
He did. Yeah. No, listen to TMS. They talked about it.
Yeah, someone was on the ball at the very least.
No, Scott actually asked him that morning, hey, can you, do you want to come up and ask a question? And then coordinated it with the Q&A panel. So yeah, they actually had saved a seat next to Ro, who asked the first question, but Chris was there with his family and they were further back. So he actually came up from the back for that question, and then they got him off, afterward. But
he was incognito.
Yep. And Chris Metzger at BlizzCon.
To tell you how popular Chris was, there's literally a guy walking around after that in the lobby with a sign that said, "Looking for Chris Metzen. Have you seen Chris Metzen anywhere?" And he looks at me, he does a double take on me because I'm a big bearded guy, and he's like, "Oh, no, you're not."
Oh, no, yeah. Well, yeah, out of the corner there. Oh no, not right.
It's like close, but
no. Yeah. Well, speaking of WoW, we got so much WoW information. I thought they would go into maybe a little bit of what was going on in 8.2, but they went over what was in 8, what was coming up in 8.1, what was going to be in 8.15, some information about what was going on in 8.2, and even the new Goblin and Worgen models would be coming in 8.25. So they got 4 patches worth of stuff out there. That was awesome. If you get a chance, listen to the Warcraft 3 Reforged panel.
Really great.
Yeah, when they go through the level of detail of trying to recreate some of the Warcraft 3 graphics, it's amazing because there's one part where they actually they found out the lighting system in the original Warcraft 3. Somebody had missed coloring some of the lights, and when they brought that over to the new engine, those lights were the wrong color, and they had to go back and actually figure out how to make DirectX kind of break to recreate what the lights originally looked at in the original Warcraft 3. And they were there, that level of detail where they're doing scene by scene or shot by shot, trying to make sure that everything matches as they remember. Is just, the amount of time they spent on that is amazing.
Yep.
So, Hearthstone, we knew an expansion was coming. They did a troll expansion. All 9.
The spirits look really cool.
Yeah. So each of the classes will have their own Loa. Ties into the cool WoW stuff. Awesome. Heroes of the Storm, the new hero looks amazing. I find it interesting that they're actually trying to put lore into the Nexus.
Yep.
I didn't really think it needed lore, but we'll see where the story goes.
That's kind of what they did with Overwatch, where they just started with a bunch of characters fighting, and then they added lore.
They fill in the lore,
right.
And they fill in the holes in it, and now everyone happens to be a Diva fan, or name your favorite hero here.
Exactly. And speaking of Overwatch,
oh my god,
I would have paid money for that character.
I would have paid.
Yeah, but since they're all included in the game, that cinematic was amazing, and I really liked that they took what could have been a full character Bob and made that someone's
ultimate.
Right.
Did you capture, of course, there was the character and the abilities reveal, and of course they had the trailer for Reunion. Of course the character lore, of course, as we were talking about lore, and finding out that Ashe is nothing more than a poor little rich girl who just doesn't like playing by other people's rules. And I'm like,
right,
I could get behind that.
Yep.
Gives you something to identify with. So here's another funny story about Ashe. Happened to catch one of the game producers. He had just on the for Overwatch. He just on the panel on how they create a character, and so I walked up to him later and I was asking him questions. Like I said, they welcome questions. It was great. But I asked him, so how do you pick which character it's going to be? And he told the story. And apparently this is in the Overwatch What's Next panel or something like that, which I hated. But he said that they literally, and I thought this was amazing, they literally didn't know what the next character was going to be until they had started that video and they had those characters.
Yeah.
So when Jeff says, any of them could have been a great character and we didn't know which one, it was serious. They didn't know which one until that. And Ash comes out as that character because of that video, which I thought was an amazing creative experience.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting to see what they would have done if they actually made the triplets into a character.
Right.
Like you said, like the dwarves, just like the dwarves in Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lost Vikings, exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, the Vikings, yeah. But yeah, it's and of course you know the Echo's coming.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
and
absolutely.
And then
that was the one I was sure was that's going to be the character.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, I can live with
that. And of course,
it's coming, but not yet.
Of course, they didn't focus enough on the most important character, which was the pie.
Right, the pie. I'm so upset about the pie.
Yeah,
I know.
It was so detailed.
I know.
Yeah.
So.
It was. I was hungry just watching him eat the pie.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not get enough screen time.
I already won an apple pie.
All right. And that was pretty much all the Oh, wait. No,
wait. No, there might be one little.
Was there Diablo news? I didn't hear anything.
Guys, we need to actually wrap up the show sometime tonight.
All right, fine. We're gonna leave this. We'll end this on a high note, but before we do,
no, go keep going.
I will. But what Lank said earlier about Diablo, I will say this: the announcement of Diablo 3 definitely Diablo Immortal piqued my interest in playing Diablo 3 again. And like I said, I'm playing the seasonal necromancer. All I'm going to say with apologies is I think that was the wrong venue to announce a mobile game in, and the decision to make that the final announcement and followed up with the first Q&A panel just didn't work for me. I really, I know a couple people on the CM team. I feel sorry that they and the dev team are having to deal with the fallout of that. But I'm really excited to try out the game, see how it plays. I love that they're doing the time between D2 and D3, and more lower is always good. And Cardinal, you said, and I saw it as well, that Wyatt Chang was in the Marriott or the Hyatt for like 3 hours talking to anyone that wanted to ask.
Saturday night, Wyatt Cheng was in the lobby in the Marriott for 3 hours, taking any questions, any criticism, anything anybody wanted to throw at him. And I wanted to give him props for that. Ian Hazzikostas was there as well. I don't think it was for as long. I didn't see him as much, but the upshot is that even when they know, and you can tell from the interviews he did like right afterwards, and some of the press that came out right afterwards, that they were a little surprised by the negative reaction. But even in the face of that negative reaction, they were still brave. They were there. They were available, and they were listening.
And I think you nailed it. They were brave. A lot of video game companies where there's a small, like when there's a oops, it's very easy to kind of go ahead and pull back and not engage with the storm. But here was a guy who stood there in the lobby for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And said, you know what? Okay, I understand it. I get it. But hear me out.
Yeah.
Explain to what was going on. Not a lot of companies do that.
I was amazed at his reaction to the when they snuck that Q&A question in. Because the guy had a different question and he changed it at the last and they responded pretty well.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that they practiced some of those, like, hit me with the worst Q&A question you could, and let's see how we get a reaction out of there. But yeah, I wasn't even going to mention that guy because he doesn't deserve any screen time.
Yeah.
No, but
totally agreed.
But at the end of the day, they're handling it, and they're handling it with class. They're discussing it. They're engaging, and that's the kind of thing that you want to see.
Right. It's which is what one of the things that again makes this event so amazing is the accessibility of these people that are touching what it is you love.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's end this on a high note and talk about potential ideas for plans for next year.
So, speaking with folks that were there, I one of the reasons I love BlizzCon is that it allows me, the gabber, the talker, to hobnob and talk and do my little bit of outreach and see what people are thinking. And and I'll actually ask, so what do you miss? What do you see? Obvious, everyone misses the Guildhall. And we will make plans starting as soon as the year's over
Yeah, I know it's already in works.
Yeah, to kind of deal with it. And of course, it's going to have to take into the consideration the new realities, of course, security. And you will probably be seeing my pretty ugly mug on multiple venues, trying to remind people, hey, the guild hall can't happen without you. You know, for many years, Belfaz was the one who was primarily funding and paying for it. But you know, we knew sooner or later that he wouldn't be able to pay for it, by himself. So you know, it's where it's like, okay, well, we'll buck it up, we'll set up a system, and we'll try to raise money in order to make sure that we have the guild hall next year. Probably a little different venue change. That's we're still in this like very early discussion, just because of if they recreate the security issue, the security setup from last year, it makes the Hilton kind of inaccessible. So we were looking at like a couple of the hotels and see if we can recreate there. And you know, we got a lot of WoW friends out there, and other guild folks in guilds that were formerly from us, but we're still friendly.
Right.
So so we'll be talking with them soon. Maybe we can partner up. We'll see. We'll figure out a way. And I just hope you don't grow sick of me.
Well, you know, we'll be happy to.
Just as I rattle the hat, going.
No, we got you, buddy.
And of course, the way that we can get people to not be quite as sick of you as they already, that they might get, you know, many hands make light work. So
exactly.
Definitely let us know how we can help.
You know,
well, yeah, and it's funny.
That's why I want to talk. That's why I've been harping so much on how much fun BlizzCon is, because I want other people to have an opportunity to enjoy this. I mean, it literally, I literally blew my mind, but figuratively blew my mind. It was one of the most fun I've had in years. I want other people to be able to have that opportunity. I want other people to want that, to think it's worth it. I could talk about, if you're interested in knowing how to get tickets easily, we can talk about that offline, but it was unbelievably easier than I thought it would be to deal with that sort of thing.
Because I'm always fighting to try to get tickets.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you're at all interested, please try. And then of course, please contribute, because if we can get a ton of contributors, it's relatively inexpensive and we got a great place to hang out and enjoy this. So.
Yeah. And I didn't get a chance to talk about this too much, but I actually did get to talk with the CTR crew in depth about actually partnering, so that
see you're touching upon the conversation that I had with him on Friday night. So again, we'll see.
A Lank who I'd met like a couple hours earlier says, go over there and get that guy and tell him that he has to come with you. I'm like, I'm a pretty big guy, you know, so thankfully I run into.
Did you carry Pat back, or?
Yes. And so I'd met Pat the night before, at least, you know. So I'm like, you need to come with me, sir.
Come with me if you want the link. I mean,
well, it's because the night before that's why he was receptive. Is Thursday night we actually had the full discussion with Pat, with Sal, with the whole CTR party running crew, and they said, yeah, ours fell apart too. You know, it might work better if we work together and make one big guild hall.
Well, considering the fact that so often, you know, the guild hall became kind of the headquarters for both us and CTR, and you know, people that are you know, AIE adjacent and friendly. It was also the place where you could do podcasting from and all that. So
and Alpha Geek happened to be there as well. So
exactly. Ooh, convenient. Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
how this works.
Yep. So yeah, we are.
So you were in the room where it happened?
Yes, I was indeed in a room where it happened.
Congratulations, Alexander Hamilton.
I find it interesting that Blizzard kind of borrowed one of the ideas we had with the podcasting from the BlizzCon hall, and actually now are having podcasters stream from within BlizzCon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, because I know Garrett I think he did the Angry Chicken. No, he did StarCraft 2, I think, with Kyle from one of the streaming stations, and there were a couple others that they had there. So,
well, and I meant to mention this earlier, but one of the reasons why things have been different this year and a little bit last year, Blizzard is actually doing all the video stuff their own now.
Really?
They used to do it with DirecTV. They had a professional broadcasting company doing things. Right. The reason why things are so, you know, they're experimenting, they're learning. Like Blizzard is now fully handling all the video.
Yeah.
So are you saying that they're being proactive on being a entertainment company?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had a good conversation with one of the broadcast guys near the booth, where Alex and oh geez, I forget his name, the guy from Overwatch, where they were doing a lot of the
okay.
No, not Kaplan. The guy that actually ends Overwatch stuff. I forget his name, but anyway, I had a good conversation with them. It's we're having to do it all ourselves. It's us. This is our experience from doing the league.
Yeah, well, they've
got why
yeah, but because if you think about it, they're having to take care of the stream because they're trying to launch the Overwatch League. So if you can do that yourself, it becomes less expensive. So so that's why. The issue with getting a contractor is it's easier, but that means it's more expensive.
But also things can go wrong and they can get out of your control, and now you have a contract issue instead of, hey, we have a team in house that does this and we can kind of control it, and we can make sure that what we want is done correctly and right, and make sure that you have a hand in that cost.
And it's in Blizzard's nature to okay, we see how it's done. How can we do it better?
Right.
I mean, it's
exactly that's one thing Blizzard does.
I have a feeling it's very much driven by the Overwatch thing because they obviously control Overwatch League and they want to do that. And streaming is, of course, your primary delivery system unless the contracts come in on the cable side and that sort of thing. But even moving forward, that may be the future.
Or it already is.
Video entertainment is to do it over IP. So by laying that foundation of, we're competent at this, we're capable of this, they can hold that in house. But there's also always the tension of, this is a new competency for us. This is not something that we've done before. And you've got, you saw this with some other industries, I don't know if you know this, but MLB was one of the first ones that got really good at doing streaming video. And so HBO Go, when it originally launched and HBO was controlling it, they couldn't do it right. So do they go to, of all people, MLB, to do their streaming for them. So it's always that tension between this is a core competency of ours that we want to double down on, or this is a new competency that we want to develop. And so we're going to see some growing pains, I think, but, hopefully they'll get it all right.
Yeah, I mean they're learning, and I mean the day after BlizzCon, the fleet of big rigs coming in to take all that.
Oh yeah,
It's like I'm sitting there. It's like there are 24 big rigs just like streaming in with another dozen. Just like that's when I just realized how big a deal.
It's a huge undertaking.
It was funny to see that the time that the devs were least available, we call them the blue shirts because most of the Blizzard employees were wearing blue shirts. But the time they were least available was actually Saturday night because after they finished up everything, all the blue shirts are in there helping with the loadout. Because they got to get out of there immediately, and it was a huge undertaking to do. They got a lot of custom stuff and a lot of great decorations and IP specific things and great things, but they got to get that back to Anaheim.
All right, Irvine. All right, so before we wrap up, guys, I want all of you to go over your very favorite thing that you saw at BlizzCon. I'm going to go ahead and start with, what's going to keep it alphabetical? So, Card, what was your very favorite? Like your biggest?
It's like had to find the unmute. Sorry. To be honest with you, it's exactly what I said it earlier. It's that when is the Horde going to get its real war chief back? Cool. Because I've been invested. I've been playing this game since beta. And this whole, for the first time, frankly, this story with Sylvanas and everything that she's doing and all of this has actually got me kind of engaged in the lore more than any other point before. And I hate what she's doing. I'm big time hashtag not my war chief, no shoulders for all that stuff. And so hearing that was like, and hearing the reaction to that of all my Hordes that agree with me. And then of course to hear the announcement that, well, it wasn't announced, it's been talked about already, but that there's going to be a real choice. That's something I'm really excited about. But that was my one moment, other than the sort of the times with individual people, the devs or the guys, that sort of thing. But that was the BlizzCon moment that I love most.
Yep. All right, Lank, how about you, buddy?
It's unfair because you're making me pick one.
I know. I'm mean. I'm mean.
But not BlizzCon specific, but the day after BlizzCon and the Algonquin group discussion we had the morning after over pancakes, chicken fried steak. That's the kind of stuff that I really enjoy.
Those little quiet moments.
Yeah, the just talking with your folks and seeing what what makes your guildies tick, not necessarily the pomp and circumstances, but just hanging around and just talking and getting to know people better.
Definitely. All right, Mew, you're up, buddy.
Well, for me, it was when we went to the Doc Moon Fair and happened to see Randy there watching over the Q&A booth. And then some more people we knew showed up saying, "Oh, hey, it's you." And then some more people showed up. "Oh, hey, it's you." And by the end of the whole gathering, we had a huge ton of people we all knew at the Dark Moon Fair, just hanging out, talking, having fun, doing Q&A questions. That was probably, it's just seeing everyone there was probably the best moment for me.
Awesome. All right, Ted, since we had a very different look, a different view of it, what about you?
So my favorite thing that happened or that I saw was definitely the Laura Bailey voiceover. That just floored me, and watching that whole panel thing, and I'll go back and watch that again and again because it was just amazing. But Cardinal touched on one thing that I think is going to be bigger for WoW going forward than I think people are giving it credit for, and that is, if they are going to allow us to make real character decisions with real repercussions in the story moving forward, like Star Wars and a few other games do, that's a big shift. Game telling and storytelling for WoW, and if they follow through with that, I think it's going to bring a lot more interest to the game.
Oh, the aforementioned, the much whispered third.
No,
never happened. No, absolutely never happened.
We don't. Stop it, Lank. Stop it.
I would love to see it, but it will never happen.
I don't see how it can pull off in this particular game.
Make it interesting. It would make it interesting, decision and discussion. Yeah.
Lank is. I see this theme. Lank is always trying to create
the Chaos Bringer.
Yes,
the Chaos Bringer.
Very much so.
Yeah. No, see.
Yeah. All right, Elric, calm down.
What you call chaos, I call content.
Yes. I have a chaos symbol tattooed on me to ward off chaos. So.
Do we need to have a Babylon 5 conversation here? Chaos and order. I knew you'd get that reference.
I would use my favorite quote about Babylon 5, but I can't because we don't have the swear jar.
We do not.
There's an after show thing. Okay.
We do try to keep it family friendly, even though they do let me host on occasion. So
McCullough, what was from what you've seen in the discussion, everything, what was your favorite moment?
I think honestly, we're joking in the chat room, Ash, phenomenal, and just seeing another really cool, strong female character introduced, and then seeing how that all played out, and then an echo at the end. So that really to me was really cool. Also being the mother to a gamer daughter, and kind of getting to see her see all of it always makes me happy. But God, my favorite one that I saw, honestly, I want to say the cosplay. I'm a cosplayer at heart, and the amount of work and detail and seeing just these obscene things that just works of beauty.
Yeah.
And knowing what had to have gone into that, to me, is always the thing I love the most about BlizzCon.
And he was just saying, if you want to find out what I think about Babylon 5, you can always join the AIE Podcast Discord channel.
Oh,
right there.
No, link. All right.
So, product placement from Langtharis.
You're welcome. Creating content since 2008.
All right. So I know we could actually probably go on another hour because I know all of us, and it was a fun experience, but we're going to have to close it up.
I have to say, Mikala.
Yes.
Hour and 45 minutes.
I know this. Yeah. You won, dude. You won. This is the longest show ever, and
you had help. I'm just saying, you had help.
No, it's been delightful. Like, it's kind of like when Tech goes on Azeroth Roundtable, things just go off the tangent. It's fine. No, you guys are making content for the show as we're recording. So.
Just saying.
No. We tease because we love.
Are we not entertained?
You are, yes.
Are you not entertained? Where's that sounder?
Yeah, right. We kind of need that. We actually, Ted, can we get that for when Lank is on? Please?
I know.
I'm going to see if Lank can come on. It'll be fine, he said. Oh, hey, he's bringing Cardinal. It'll be great, he said. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I need to get one of those signs from Chappelle's show, the wrap it up box.
Oh,
and just kind of slowly raise it up on the screen.
But yeah, for those of us that weren't able to go to BlizzCon, this was a good
wrap up.
A good wrap up, but a good, indicator. Here's what happens the non-stage stuff when you're not actually sitting there at a panel. This is what happens around a table at Tiffy's, what happens in the bar, what happens in the,
what it feels like to sit there in person and not just watch it on the stream.
Exactly, which is the best part about it.
I think that's very valuable to people, is just to hear, because there's a lot of other venues where you can hear analysis of what happened and summaries of what happened, but to hear, kind of what the experience was like and how much fun it was, even when you're not looking at those things, I think is very valuable.
Right,
so I'm glad we were able to share that.
The reasons to go, not just not what you can see on your television at home, because honestly, the panel part of it, we saw as much as you guys did, if not more, from a different vantage point. But the intimate moments with your friends.
Yep.
And that's the cool part. All right. So guys, that is our show for the night. And as mentioned, this is pretty much our longest show, I think, besides our one of our anniversary shows. Yeah, he's doing the dance over there. Those not watching the stream. All right. So chat room, you guys have, I'm so sorry, you have to start suggesting titles, and you can go on as long as you need. We want to thank Link There's and Cardinal for joining us so much. This has been a really great show, and we want to thank you guys for all of your input. And do we have a anything after the stream? Is there a stream at all tonight?
I have not.
I don't think Max had anything planned. No,
that's good, because we've now cut into that stream if there was one. All right. Yeah. So, gentlemen, where can you guys be found on the interwebs?
Start with you, Cardinal.
Yeah. So. Thing, yeah. I'm Cardinal. I'm a hunter. That's what I do. That's what I am. So my Twitter handle is Cardinal Hunts on Twitter, where I'll tweet pretty much exclusively about gaming, usually about WoW, often about hunter things. I try to avoid real life stuff. I've got a different Twitter handle for that. I can also be found on the Warcraft Hunters Union Discord, where we talk even more about hunters if you really want to know more about hunters. And can you tell I love being a hunter?
Right.
You only have 5?
I actually only have 4. One's a bank alt, and one I just need. I needed to level a Void Elf for the Heritage Armor, and I might as well be a hunter, because I might as well fuck it.
Exactly.
And it's a cool pet, yeah.
When you mentioned that reminded me of Starman, who had at least 0.9 mages.
Oh, I've heard of people who have literally 15 hunters. I mean, it's really crazy. No, but really, I only play 2 of them. It's my Alliance Max and my Horde Max hunter.
Awesome. All right, Crazy Uncle Lank, where can we find you?
You can find me on the Twitters at Lanktheris, where I go ahead and talk mostly about video games, but also some real life stuff, creating content for everyone, because
that's what you do.
And of course, you can also find me at the AIE Discord, the AIU Eve Discord, if you see me in Discord, just poke me and make fun of me and say you should be locked up because you're way too entertaining.
And guys, by the way, never click on a link that
always click the link.
Never click on a link that Lank posts.
Always click the link.
Linky no. Anyways.
All right. Well, if you have a question or comment about this show, and good Lord, why don't you? You can email us at podcast@aie-guild.org. You can also follow us on Twitter. The show is at AIE Podcast. Mew is at the Mew Cow. Makala is at Cyberwave. And I am at Ivory Tiger. We record live with video every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and you can join the chat room and play along with us on our website, aie-guild.org, and the link will be podcast live stream. And our Discord server for chat is at bit.ly AIE Podcast Discord. Our theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him at Keys with Soul or visit his website, keyswithsoul.com.
And now it's time to play all of the great AIE member segments received this week, including X Busley and overly dramatic news from Hunts the Wind.
All right. Until then, guys. So next time is going to be our year-end wrap-up. We're taking December off, as we said. So next show, end of the year AIE style, 310. So until then, AIE, this is Makala.
This is Tetsemi.
And this is Mewcow.
And this has been the AIE Podcast.
Yay!
Bye-bye.
All right.
Almost 2 hours.
Dude!
Yeah. We knew it was gonna go
No.
long.
It's like, we have a lot. We had a lot to go over. We had a decent amount of news. Plus, it's a BlizzCon analysis. So we knew that.
And looking over the show notes, we could have gone. We
you
easily could have gone another.
Yeah.
I will say this is probably one of my favorite podcasts we've done. This was awesome.
No,
you knew how much Lang could talk. You didn't know how much I could talk.
Right.
No, because when I reached out to you, Cardinal, I'm like going, who would be the perfect person to bring with me on the podcast? Because I actually don't like being on a podcast just on myself, because I think provides an interesting dynamic if I have someone else to bounce off of.
Yes. Hank likes to riff. All right.
Yep.
And
Kenny just should have warned me.
Yeah, I know.
Kenny didn't tell you how much I talk.
Which is bizarre, you would think.
Yeah. So. Heck, anybody who's been a noob right knows how much I talk.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was secretly crafting a wrap it up thing as you guys were going on.
We have that ready we're having that ready for next time Lank's on.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I did actually censor myself on a couple of times. I was like, no, I'm going too long, so I'm shut up now.
No. Yeah, at all. Yeah. Yeah, we easily could have gone another half an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Easy. So, well, thank you guys for joining us. All right. Chat room, we have our show titles. I think you like the one that said BlizzCon War Stories Rock. I like that one too. What do you think, Lank?
A lot of good ones.
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to catch up with them.
Sparrow, that's the name of my private blog. I love it. And no, Apple's, I'm ixnaying that one. The look I gave you when you put that out.
All right.
What kind of the type of extraordinary?
One verbal snafu, and dude,
and they'll haunt you for the rest of your life. Yes. Welcome to
I'm banned for
the internet.
As much as I love Murder Hobos and it is about BlizzCon, I would actually do a mashup and goes, beware murder hobos at BlizzCon Burrito Truck.
We can save that for an alternate title. Yes.
It'll be an alternate title.
Subtitle. There you go.
Exactly. All right. Thank you, chat room. I'm going to go ahead and cut the feed. You're over there.
Bye, chat room.
Bye.
Bye.